Yo, Raider Nation, listen up. Big news is breaking, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear every word. Now we all know the Raiders are in a critical moment. Every injury, every decision, it's shaping our season. And today's update, it's not just news, it's a warning. Christian Wilkins. One day, he's out of the boot. Next day, he's back in it. Whispers of a second surgery. Confusion. Silence. And fans are left wondering what's really going on. But here's the deal. A credible update just dropped from Vinny Bonsignori, and it changes the whole story. It's not just about Wilkins. It's about accountability inside the Raiders locker room. It's about knowing when to listen, when to act, and when silence can cost you everything. But hey, before we dive into the full story, if you're part of Raider Nation and you live for real updates, smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and don't forget the bell icon. Because every update here, it's straight, real, and for the nation. All right, let's get into it. All right, let's break this down because the truth behind Christian Wilkins' injury isn't just confusing. It's frustrating for Raider Nation. The Raiders made a massive $110 million investment in Wilkins last offseason. He was supposed to be a defensive anchor, part of the core that would lead us forward. But here we are, and he's only played 5 games in 2024. Since then, no participation in workouts, no action in minicamp, just silence, and a walking boot. Now, here's where it gets real. According to Vinny Bonsignori from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, the injury actually happened early in a game, possibly against Baltimore. But instead of coming out, Wilkins pushed through, played hurt, fought on. That toughness? Admirable, but dangerous. The Raiders' medical staff had to pull him, and the very next day, surgery. At first, all signs pointed to a smooth recovery. Wilkins was expected to return for OTAs, maybe even minicamp, but something changed. Something went wrong. A setback, that's the word. Could be a re-break, could be hardware failure from surgery, but the recovery clock? Still 8 to 12 weeks. So where does that leave us? Honestly, we still don't know. Some claim he's close. Others suggest the season opener is in doubt. But until we see him on the field, everything's speculation. And for Raider Nation, that uncertainty is the hardest part. Here's why this update on Christian Wilkins really matters. And it's not just about him. We've seen it happen before. Star players full of heart, refusing to leave the field when they're hurt. Raider Nation loves that grit. We celebrate warriors like Max Crosby. The man's a beast, top 5 in the league, no doubt. He's the soul of this defense. But even Max, as relentless as he is, has danced with danger, pushing through pain when he shouldn't, playing in games that don't define a season, risking injuries that absolutely could. Now look, we respect that warrior spirit, but this isn't a do-or-die playoff game. It's not the Super Bowl. Sometimes it's week 6 and the scoreboard doesn't justify the risk. And that's the cautionary tale here. Wilkins may have made his injury worse by staying in the game too long. The trainers had to pull him. Surgery followed. And now? We're all left waiting and hoping he'll recover in time. The truth is, a 60% version of a star player can hurt the team more than help it. Not just physically, but in the game plan, in energy, in execution. The silver lining? The Raiders' front office knew the risk. They didn't stand still. They've been bringing in a mix of rookies and vets on the defensive line, preparing, adjusting, making sure this team can hold the line while Wilkins recovers. Because this season, it's bigger than one name. It's about depth, discipline, and smart decisions. Even when you look at the roster, the Raiders have options. Guys like Tyree Wilson can step into the interior when needed. He's got the size and power. But here's the thing. Depth isn't the same as dominance. And losing a player like Wilkins, that's a major gap. Now, let's talk about Max Crosby for a second. We love Max. He's everything Raider Nation stands for: heart, hunger, and fight. But when he says stuff like, "My knee was hanging off the bone and I still played," as much as it fires us up, it also scares the hell out of us. Because that mindset, it can backfire. That's exactly why this Christian Wilkins situation feels like a wake-up call. According to Vinny, Wilkins played through the injury until trainers had to physically pull him off the field. And then surgery the very next day. That's not normal. That tells you it was serious. That tells you the damage might have already been done. And what's worse, there's still no clear update, no recovery window, no official return date. Just speculation and frustration. Some people out there say they've got sources inside the building. Maybe they do. But until something solid comes from trusted voices, until it's confirmed by the team, we're all just waiting. And that's the toughest part. Wilkins is a game changer when healthy. But right now, the only thing we know for sure is we don't know anything for sure. If we're being honest, it's looking more and more likely that Christian Wilkins could start the season on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. Now, here's what that actually means for the Raiders. If Wilkins lands on the active PUP list during training camp, he can come off at any time. But once final roster cuts hit, if he's not ready, he'd have to be moved to the reserve PUP list. And that means he'd be out for a minimum of 4 games under current league rules. The team has until August 30th, the 53-man deadline, to make that call. This isn't about panic, it's about planning. If they're unsure of his exact recovery timeline, the PUP list gives the Raiders flexibility. They don't burn a roster spot, and if he surprises everyone and heals faster, great. If not, at least they're not rushing him. But let's be real, there's a high chance he misses the start of the season. And that's why this entire situation should echo loudly across the locker room. To the grinders like Max Crosby, who push their limits every single week, this is your warning. Being tough is one thing, but risking long-term damage in a regular season game? That can cost a season or worse, a career. Even Max has likely learned that lesson. He's no rookie anymore. He's battle-tested. And with age comes wisdom. For Wilkins, we can only hope the team's cautious approach pays off. And when he's back, he's at 100%. Because this Raiders defense, it's built to make noise. But they need their stars fully healthy when the real fight begins.